just from a very young age, just wanted to belong, wanted to fit in, and I didn't necessarily. I was from the age of 10 just in really uncomfortable situations. I remember being 10 and in the room with my older aunts and cousins that I wanted to fit in with, and they were wild and crazy, and so I wanted to be wild and crazy like them. And from the time I was 10, I was in this room with them, and I was pretending I was asleep. I think they thought I was asleep, but they were having sex with their boyfriends and just all of these crazy things, and it just set a trajectory of wild and crazy for me. I think the first time that I got drunk, I was 13, and just in the midst of the party crowd. From then until I don't even know when, I didn't even have my license and was driving drunk. My family didn't go to church. We weren't even Creasters, to say the least. I rode a church bus. When I was probably 7, 8, we lived in a very rural community, and I rode a little Baptist church bus. And I probably did that for a couple of months, and I don't know why my parents let me. I think my dad was an atheist, and I think the rest of my family, we would say we were Christians because we lived in America, but I didn't have any idea what that meant. I never really heard the gospel until I was, I guess, 18 years old. I didn't really know what the gospel was, but we believed in God, of course. So I rode this church bus, and that was all well and good until they wanted me to be baptized. Now, why they wanted me to be baptized, I'm not sure, because I had and so my parents quit letting me go. They said, we don't believe in that. I didn't go to church again until maybe I was 13, 14, and I went with my friend who didn't live life any differently than I did. We would go with her grandpa, which looking back now, it's super interesting because I've thought so many times, like, who did I have praying for me? And I felt like I had no one. But then as I grew, I kind of remembered her grandpa, and he always took us to Joe's Drive-In after church anytime I would go to church with her. And I think it wasn't until I realized I was doing that for other kids, the other students, that why he was doing that, and that he most definitely was praying for me. Then all of a sudden, I meet David, and we started dating, and all of a sudden I was this 16-year-old girl and I was pregnant. And the overall consensus was that I should have an abortion, but I didn't want to. I was in love with David. That was, little did I know at the time what that really meant, but even the people closest to me besides him should choose, but I just didn't have it in me. I don't know why, because it certainly wasn't any moral thing or God thing. And so we decided that we were gonna keep the baby. And in some ways it was probably my way out. I was gonna marry David and things would be a fairy tale from then on. And we went and we talked to his old youth pastor, and he said, if you come to church, we will throw you a baby shower. If you guys get married, we'll throw you a wedding shower, just come to church. And so that's what I did. But then I just consistently went to church, and they consistently loved on me. They did throw me a baby shower. They threw us a wedding shower, and they just consistently loved on us. And Kayleigh was a year old, and I'd graduated high school, and they invited us to church camp. Pretty awkward. David went as a counselor, and I went as a student. And I don't really remember, I think that was the first time I had truly ever heard the gospel. I was starting to understand a little bit, but the fact that he died for me, that was pretty crazy for me. And I just remember that night, I don't remember what was said or anything like that. I just remember sitting in my bed and we were told to journal, and so I just journaled. And I didn't have this one moment that I'm like, let's pray the sinner's prayer. But I knew that night that I needed Jesus to be the mom that I wanted to be the wife that I wanted to be, to live a life differently than what I had lived, to give Kayleigh a different life than what I had had. And so that was really the moment for me that I knew that I needed Jesus to be Lord of my life. I needed him. So I said for a long time that Kayleigh was my Romans 8:28 baby. Really fast forward, just looking back on my life, I just realized I've lived a Romans 8:28 life. God truly works all things together for the good of those that love him and are called according to his purpose. I mean, I don't know what I would tell the 16-year-old Jodi, because I don't know that she would listen. I think I can tell 16-year-old Jodi, hey, give your life to Jesus. That's the answer, that it's okay to be different, that it's okay to not follow the crowd. I think find somebody that loves Jesus, because I think that for me, I'm slow sometimes, I'm really slow sometimes, and so it really was a lifetime of truly knowing what that looked like. David always says that God doesn't show you too much because you'd be scared to death and would never actually walk into what you were supposed to walk into. And so, yeah, I think I would just tell her, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay, because God's plans for you are greater than any plan you ever thought you had for yourself.